we are going to continue to learn how to set up for your wireframe. We already had you create the three wireframe pages, one for home, one for about, and one for your style guide. And in the part 1 tutorial, I had you add a few pictures and some body copy. What we're going to work on now is the style guide. And so that would be what I have laid out right here. And I'm going to make this larger. Remember, if you have a trackpad on your computer, you can just kind of pinch your fingers to do it, but you could also do a zoom in or zoom out from up at the top right corner. All right, so here I have I've placed a rectangle and a couple text boxes on here already. Let me explain to you why. This style guide, I'm going to have made decisions about what colors I'm going to be using on my website. So you should have listened to the color theory video already and the typography lecture as well, and then chosen your colors. And so here I have decided that in this example I am using a particular font that is used by Lee University. It's called Lee Maroon, and so I've just brought down a rectangle and filled it with that color. So now let's do this with another color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to my box here, and first thing I'm going to do is actually let's make this to be more of a square. So I'm just going to take this, and if you look how I'm making changes on the right hand menu here, in that case I just went until the little arrow came. When you do the arrow, you can make it bigger or smaller, but if you can't get the arrows to work, sometimes they're kind of tricky depending on your mouse. You can also just click in here, and I'll make that 300. So it's now a 300 by 300 box. All right, I am going to do a duplicate command, and I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to do another couple duplicates, and if it works correctly, you should see that it should duplicate this in a row, not on top of each other. Yay, it did it. Okay, so I duplicated it a few more times here, and now I'm going to list my other colors that I'm going to have in here, or in a second. I'm going to make each of these one of my basic colors. And so right now I'm going to paste in the hex code of my color. So I just pasted it in here. And let me just make sure you followed that. So I had clicked on this little square here and then pasted it, and then just hit the return or enter key, and there it is. Now I want to make more colors here, and so I'm going to go to my style guide, and I can see that there is a black that we use, so I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to come over here. I'm going to click on the fill, and I am going to make it black. Great. Now I'm going to go back to my style guide. Let me get another hex code here, and this is going to be a dark gray. So I'm going to come over here, click on the rectangle, click on fill. I'm going to paste in the fill here. All right, so we have that done. Now, a couple other things that I want to do is, because I want to know what these hex codes are for later when I go into WordPress, I'm going to I just grabbed the text tool and click down for a text box here, and I'm going to put that hex code right in here, and I'm going to call this let's just call it dark gray. It had another name, I think, but dark gray. All right, and on the black, you click here on the black, and it probably would have been easier if I remembered to do this earlier, to have put this word in there before moving on, but I didn't. But I can come here, highlight, copy, and then I can grab my text tool, type it in here, and then I'm going to say black, and then I just need to grab that hex code text box, and I'm going to type that in, and we'll call that Lee Blue. Okay. All right, now I can make all of these centered, or at least all of these line up. If I click and then I keep holding down on the Shift key, then I can make them all. I can select them all at the same time, and then let's see, I think I want to align the vertical centers. Let's see, sometimes, yes, great. So now they're lined up. So that's great. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to get my fonts in here in the style guide. All right, so I have a list here of the fonts, and Avenir is my first font, and that's something I am going to use for headlines. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to here grab a text box. I'm going to say headlines, and I'm going to say Avenir, and now I'm going to highlight all of this. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to change my font choice, Avenir. Let's see, Avenir, great. And now I'm going to say, if this is a headline, I'm going to want my headline to be bold, so I'm going to go there. I'm also going to want my headline to be bigger. So let's say I'm just going to go with the 64 with that, and that's going to be my headline font. I'm going to do another text box, and by default it's going to be bringing me the same size. It's going to make this same Avenir 64 point. But for this, I'm going to say body copy, and I'm going to also say Avenir. And on this one, though, and here I could highlight it. I'm going to make it medium weight, so it's not as bold, and I'm going to bring that down to 24. 24 is a good weight for body copy in general. All right. Okay. And so here also can write little notes to myself so I remember this 24 point medium. And over here I go back and I can say 64 point, and what did I have it on? Bold. Bold. Okay, and that way I have that taken care of. Then let me go back to there's another font I want to put on here probably. Let's see, so Lotto is one that I could use, and let's see what else. Zilla Slab is good for subhead, so let me do Zilla Slab. Let's see if that's in here. So we're going to do, I'm going to say subheads. And what else did it say it was good for? Subheads and intro, subhead, intros, quotes. And hopefully we have Zilla here. Let's go see if we have Zilla. Yes, we have Zilla here. So I'm going to do that. Now I can look at this and go, man, that really needs to be larger than what my body copy is going to be. So I can, before you saw I had just highlighted this when I went over to make changes, I could also just click off of it and have it highlighted this way. And so now let's see if I make this 40. That does look pretty good. So I'm just going to go back and do 40, and I think I'll keep it medium. I could always make it bold later if I want to, but just from the size of it, I think that looks pretty good. From a visual hierarchy, you can tell what's most important, the headline or any of these things. So, all right, so my first task is done, and just what I would need to do next is I will need to turn these into styles. So first of all, let's do this headline. I'm going to go over to text. I'm going to click on styles, little 4 dots here. I'm going to click on plus, and here we have, this is a new style. I'm going to call it headline, and I'm going to create a style. I'm going to come here, same thing. I've selected that body copy. I'm going to come here. I am going to click, and I'm going to call this body copy and create a style. And this one, same thing. I click on here, and you'll notice that the two that I just created are here. And now I'm going to create the style. So I'll click on that, and I'll call this subhead. All right. So what do I do with that then? How does that work? Well, if I come over here and I click on the Lee Maroon and this hex code, it's very small. I could apply this style guide. So if I come over to the 4 dots, and let's see, it might be easier to read if I gave it the subhead style. So now it's bigger, easier to read. And I can do the same thing for all of these that I have selected. And now I can see I misspelled blue. There we go. And so again here I'm applying the style guide. When it was that small I couldn't see it all, so I misspelled black as well. We'll fix it now though, easy enough to do. And one thing I just want to note, I want to point out to you, if you see I clicked on this particular copy right here, dark gray in the hex code, and it's a thin blue line around it, and I can't apply the style guide with it being in this particular box. So let me just click off it for a second, and now I can apply it when it's highlighted with all of these, with the corners here. So go back, do that, now we can read it. All right, so this is really important to have a style guide that's created for your site. So you've chosen your colors, you've chosen your fonts before you ever begin the actual design of your homepage or your about page. So this will be one of the first things that I will have you do next, is to create the style guide. So be sure to put in as many colors as what you've chosen. So here I have 4. I could have used 6, I could have used 12, I could have, probably not more than that. But I would think you need a minimum of 3 colors that you're going to have, and use that. So go ahead and choose, and go ahead and do that, and to have at least 2 fonts that you can use for these various things that we would be putting some type of copy into the website. So go ahead and choose a couple fonts, decide the size, and create style guides for all of these things. All right, so take a look at your assignments and you'll see that creating a style guide in the wireframe is one of the next things that you need to do. Have fun choosing your colors and fonts, and I can't wait to see what you decide on.